So we are going to start with lubricants. Lubricants are obviously facilitating cable installation, but they have to be compatible with both cable sheath and duct inner wall components. That means that they must be water-based. Do never use detergents, industrial oils. That is strictly forbidden. Depending on the type of lubricant you use, you will need to pour more or less quantity. So you must follow the provided instructions. There are different ways of applying lubricants into ducts. You have a manual application. We do not prefer this one. The one that we prefer is by pumps.
The following videos will show the difference between manual application and pump application.
Hand application of cable pulling lubricants is preferred when installing cable into horizontal duct systems, when pulling without the use of a feeder tube, or when working in a vault or handhole situation. Hand application can ensure that the entire cable is evenly coated with lubricant. A thorough lubricating film is essential to reducing overall pulling tension. Use a thick gel lubricant like Polywater J, Polywater Plus Silicone, or Dyna Blue to get the best results. These lubricants are easy to pick up with your hands and will cling to the cable during horizontal or vertical upruns. Using feeder tubes is one of the best ways to install cables into horizontal duct bank systems. They reduce the amount of damage that could occur on the cable while pulling. Feeding the cable directly into the duct bank with a feeder tube makes it easier to lubricate cables by being above grade and out of the manhole, providing more room to operate. Before pulling, scoop a few handfuls of lubricant into the duct before the head end of the cable to help pre-lubricate the conduit. Front end packs can also be used to pre-lubricate the conduit ahead of the cable too. American Polywater manufactures several pourable cable pulling lubricants. Pourable lubricants are effective for vertical pulling situations, such as conduit stub-ups and feeder tubes. Pouring lubricant directly onto cable as it enters the mouth of a conduit or feeder tube is a great way to avoid messy hand contact. Pouring allows a free hand to assist in guiding the cables. Plus, it allows workers to wear gloves without ruining them, which is nice for the hands in cold weather conditions. Pour directly onto the cables on the inside edge of the duct, so lubricant immediately gets to where the rub is. Lubricant quantity is important. This formula shows how much lubricant to use during a cable pull. If a pull has multiple bends, high conduit fill, water in the duct, or is in an old conduit system, the calculated amount of lubricant may need to increase by as much as 25%. A general rule of thumb is to use 1 gallon of cable pulling lubricant for every 100 feet that you're pulling in cable. After the pull has been completed, cleanup is easy if you follow this tip. Get a good clean rag and start 4 to 6 feet back from the end of the cable. Tightly squeeze the rag around the cable and squeegee off the lubes as you pull towards the end of the cable. Take the rag and fold it over, exposing the dry part of the towel, and repeat the process. Your cable should now be clean and dry ready for taping and termination. Controlled pumping of Polywater lubricant provides consistent lubrication and avoids the mess with hand application. The best pumps are designed for water-based materials and pump a broad lubricant viscosity range at acceptable flow rates. Polywater makes several pumps. The LP3 is a hand-operated, self-priming, piston-style transfer pump. Both liquid and gel Polywater lubricants are pumped through the LP3 by adjusting the mechanical advantage ratio setting. The pump instructions include ratio setting recommendations. This adjustment is quick and simple, as is shown here. The LP3 pump mounts directly onto a 5-gallon pail. A 10-foot output hose is standard. Operate the pump with the up and down handle. Increase or decrease the rate of pumping to control the lubricant flow rate. The Polywater Pump LPD5 is powered by a 1/4-inch or large electric drill. The LPD5 will pump all Polywater lubricants except the very thick gel Dynablue. An extension feeder tube allows the LPD5 to draw from a 5-gallon pail or 55-gallon drum. The pump is supplied with a 12-foot output hose. Vary the drill speed to control the lubricant flow rate from the LPD5. When finished, reverse the drill to return the majority of lubricant from the output hose to the bucket. An appropriate lubricant pumping rate depends on duct size, cable count, and pulling speed. Even for large conduits, pumping rates required are generally less than 1/3 gallon per minute, 1.5 liters per minute. Pump the required lubricant volume at a rate that evenly distributes the lubricant over the length of the cable. A slightly heavier coating is recommended for the first third of the pull. If a pump is not going to be used for a while, clean it by pumping through water before storing. American Polywater makes 3 hose attachment lubricators that work with the pumps. The first, which is supplied with all pumps, is a flexible cable guide attachment. The lubricating cable guide works well in a vertical stub-up conduit. The lubricating sleeve guides the cable into the conduit and protects it from the sharp edges of the duct. Lubricant is applied on the cable as it enters the conduit. Position the lubricant output port towards the first inside bend of the conduit so that lubricant is coated on the rubbing side of the cable. Both gel and liquid Polywater lubricants can be applied through the flexible sleeve lubricator. The second device, a hook adapter, works best with a feeder tube or vertical conduit. Attach the hook to the output hose by sliding the hose over the long end of the pipe. Then secure with a cable tie or hose clamp. Position the hook so that lubricant flows onto the cable surface that will rub on the first conduit bend. In a vertical position, the hook adapter applies both liquid and gel Polywater lubricants. There are several different types of lubricant applicators that you can use to apply Polywater lubes to cables. Open this split device by releasing the hasp in the middle of the applicator. Place the device around the cable or wires and refasten. As lubricant is pumped into this applicator, the internal applicator flaps coat the cables as they pass through. Control the pumping rate to completely coat the cables, but not overfill the sleeve. Lubricant applicators can be used in horizontal or vertical applications. Gel lubricants are recommended to prevent lubricant dripping. In summary, choose the pump, applicator, and lubricant that works best for your job. Several are available. Use the Polywater calculators, then use the pumps and collars to thoroughly coat the cable jacket with lubricant. This will optimize lubrication and minimize cable pulling tension for an easier, quality cable installation.